Hey guys, so today I want to try something a little different. I want to do a reaction video to a video Patrick Bartley recently uploaded on YouTube. He is talking about how good or bad transcription videos are for learning jazz, and let's see what he has to say about that. For anyone who doesn't know Patrick Bartley yet, I would really recommend checking him out. He's without any doubt one of the great jazz musicians of his generation and one of the best saxophone players around right now. Let's see what he has to say.
So what are you getting from reading somebody else's transcription online? What are you getting from reading that PDF? What are you getting from looking at the scrolling thing on YouTube? What are you getting from just reading that? You're cutting out the process of doing the work yourself, so you're not gaining any of the skill of training your ear. That's why so many of y'all are out here playing these transcriptions, playing these PDFs, playing whatever. Y'all playing these things online, and then wondering how, like, I know like 52 solos, why can't I play yet? Because you ain't transcribed none of them.
Yeah, so what Patrick is really getting at, and I think this is absolutely true, is that it's just not the same playing a transcription of a solo and really copying the notes off from the recording yourself. Many of us, and I think pretty much all of us know this, have a certain blockade against transcribing something yourself. And I think the reason for that is, first of all, because many people think it's too difficult. I will say a little bit more about that later, how to make it easier for yourself. And secondly, maybe also because it's a different habit of practicing. We're just really used to having sheet music in front of us and just playing the sheet music from the music stand, basically. But what you have to do here is a little bit different. You have to sit down with maybe these days your laptop. You have to choose something that is on the right level for you, so you're not overwhelmed by what you're trying to transcribe. And all this can make it difficult to find an entry point to really start doing it yourself. Even though when you do it, there's not a much better way to learn jazz, especially for beginners and intermediate players, than to just copy the greatest players of all time. And we have so many examples of people like, I don't know, basically everyone in the jazz history, with maybe a few exceptions, really started out by just copying their favorite players. Sonny Rollins copied Coleman Hawkins. Micah Brecker, probably one of the greatest saxophone players of all time, who evolved to such a level. He copied all the time other people, and everything he liked, he basically tried to copy and bring into his own playing. So this is really such a proven way to get good at jazz. And if you want to get good at jazz, it's never a waste of time to transcribe something. As I said, I will say later, maybe for everyone who thinks that they are not able to transcribe, I will give you a few tips how you could also start, and how transcribing is really not such a big task as you might think it is.
What you think? You haven't put in the work to sit there with it yourself. So take a break. Stop doing that. Like, again, like, it's like...
Of course, you also have to say that there's nothing bad about playing transcriptions. I think Patrick is going to say this also a little bit later in the video. You learn how a good solo is supposed to sound like. It's a great technique exercise. Also, it's just fun to play along with your heroes without investing a lot of time before to figuring out all the notes yourself. And maybe you also are not at this level yet that you can figure out all the notes yourself for a solo. But it's just important, and I think this is also the point that Patrick is trying to make here, to not forget that the real work is really to sit down with the recording and trying to figure out note by note.
Training wheels on a bike. There's nothing wrong with training wheels to start off with. But if you're a 42-year-old grown man riding a bike with training wheels on it, don't you think it's time to stop? Isn't that weird? Like, at a certain point, you need to take the training wheels off. When I first, like, whatever, I got perfect pitch, whatever. But even I started off with the Omnibook. Because, like, what am I going to do at 6th, 7th grade, like 11, 12, 13 years old, trying to transcribe a bird solo by ear? Of course I can't do that. I needed training wheels. So I looked at Opera Vive, and I read Opera Vive. I read Now's the Time. But guess what? I was getting, as my technique is getting better and my ear is getting used to hearing jazz more, I'm starting to go transcribe more complicated things and building myself. I'm building. That's what y'all got to do. And that's...
Yeah, so of course, I think also Patrick would agree that it's not like the one against the other. Maybe a pro or an intermediate player will also play from time to time a transcription that is already written down just for the fun of it or as a technical exercise or something. But it's just no substitute for transcribing things yourself, because the most important thing to become a great improviser, and I think also like a guy like Patrick, for example, I think he was for sure also very gifted. He put a lot of work into it, for sure. You can also notice, otherwise he would never play on this level. But he was also gifted very much. And the gift comes usually from having a very good ear in the end. And this tells us something about what's the most important skill in jazz, and that's in the end to have a good understanding of the music by listening to it and by having also an internal model of how the music should sound like.
One of the reasons y'all are not sounding good yet is because you're still relying on these PDFs. And man, the comments I see online is crazy sometimes. Like on these, like a solo will come out. I've seen it on comments of my videos and a whole bunch of other my friends' videos. A solo will drop. Anybody who's gonna transcribe this? You, dude, you transcribe it. What the heck you talking about? Bro, the amount of times I see people out here being like, who's gonna transcribe this? What, like, anybody who's dropping it? When is it transcribed? Can we get E flat, please? Bro, you do it. You.
I mean, I have to say, I'm also a lot on YouTube, and I watch these transcription videos myself, and I really like to just look at them and read them to see also what people did. But of course, this also, Patrick says it, I think, a little bit later in the video, this needs also some prior knowledge about jazz theory and everything. But I think there's nothing bad, and I think also Patrick doesn't mean it like this, there's nothing bad about transcription videos in itself. I think actually it's a great way for the jazz community to also pay tribute to a great solo in the end. And Patrick played a few really amazing solos that should be transcribed. But of course, again, it's no substitute. If you want to play like Patrick, you might have to transcribe his solo yourself, or rather, which is often a better idea, you should rather transcribe his influences like Charlie Parker and so on. If you want to get on a similar level like Patrick, you would have to go this way, and you cannot just play transcriptions that are already done for you.
Ooh, you transcribe the thing, dude. It's easy. It's not easy, but the solution is easy. The work is hard. The solution is easy.
Also, what I really experienced was that whenever I transcribed something myself, like a Sonny Rollins solo, for example, it really deepens your understanding of the music and your relationship to the music, and you appreciate the music more. So it's for you such a win. And if you play a transcription, it's also nice, also fun and everything, but it will never give you such a deep experience as transcribing something yourself.
Stop looking at pre-transcribed sheet music and do the dang work yourself. At a certain point, you can wing it. You're off of that. You can't be a 27-year-old dude getting fed by your mama, bosom fed by your mama. You got to be weaned off the joint. You're not getting the benefits and the rewards from transcribing yourself. Can we shut down the argument? This is why do I not like the transcriptions, the scrolling transcriptions online? Why do I not like that? Because it's gaming the system. All it is getting views and trying to make people money. I don't like that. I want to see people play the transcription.
In my opinion, as I said before, it's a great way to pay honor to great solos, that you see that people really put in the time and transcribe then the whole solo and put it also on YouTube. It's a good thing for the community, as long as no one misunderstands it as the work being done and you just have to play the solo. I mean, maybe, but maybe for some people also, the goal is not to become a great improviser like Patrick, right? But maybe just to enjoy playing jazz, and maybe they love the solo so much that they want to play it themselves, and they don't have the time to put into transcribing the whole thing themselves. But anyway, I think that the message is pretty clear. If you really want to get good at jazz, there's no way around transcribing yourself. Transcription videos and transcriptions are a great way to get some insight into, like, mostly quick insight about how an improviser thought about chord changes or something, what techniques he used for improvising, but it's no substitute at all to transcribe music yourself and really get close to the music, and this is going to make you a much better musician. But of course, there's always the problem, and I also see this with my students, that if you listen, for example, to a solo of Patrick Bartley and you only play for a few years, you can easily be overwhelmed by this because it's just really complicated from the standpoint of someone who plays only for a few years. And for me, it was also like this, that whenever I wanted to transcribe something, I thought that it's such a huge amount of work that it really was difficult for me to get going. And then at some point I had a teacher that actually had changed my way of thinking about it, which is so simple, but he simply said that you don't have to transcribe a whole solo necessarily. You can just transcribe one chorus, or as Michael Brecker, for example, did it. He didn't really believe in transcribing whole solos at all. Probably he did it though, but mostly he transcribed phrases that he really liked. So what you could do is you can choose whatever thing you like, actually. It could also be completely not jazz related. It could be just a pop song. And you could try to transcribe 3 notes of that. Or you have your favorite solo. I also once did that. I wanted to understand a little bit more, or I just wanted to get in touch kind of with Michael Brecker's solo on Softly as in the Morning Sunrise, which you can also find on YouTube. And I just played the solo, and whenever I really liked something, I tried to copy that. And this is also an approach that is completely valid and that's really going to bring you somewhere. Of course, it's also great to transcribe whole solos, but if you know that for you it's difficult to get a foot into transcribing and get started, you can make the task much smaller by just saying, I would transcribe each day 1 note, or each day 4 notes, or just from my favorite solo, I will start with just figuring out the head of the song, for example, or the 2 first bars of the head. So you really don't have to make it such a big task for yourself. You can always try to find ways to break it down, and to just choose a manageable size that you can transcribe. Okay, guys, this was my first reaction video here on YouTube. Let me know down in the comments if you would like to see more like that. And I would also be really interested to hear from you how many people find it hard to start transcribing, and how many people maybe tried and failed, or if any of you actually really get something out of the transcription videos. Yeah, would be nice to talk about this in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time.